Hey there, Brick fans. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope your Wednesday is going well. I know mine is. It's midweek, which means we have a wild card Wednesday, and it is a set review Wednesday. So before I get into the why is there no set next to me, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, I just want to say thank you for listening in, whether it's on your favorite podcast platform, or maybe you're a visual person and you like checking me out on the YouTube page. I just appreciate it. Feel free, leave a comment, let me know, give me your thoughts. But what do you say? Let's get into it. So it is Wednesday. It is a set review Wednesday. And if you saw the thumbnail or read the detail on what we were reviewing today, you'll know it's the Avengers Tower. But Steve, I have no Avengers Tower next to me. Why is that, you might ask? Well, that's because today is a unique podcast. I have my first ever guest podcast person. Can I say that? And that is none other than my brother, my older brother, Mike. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Good to be here. I'm sorry I don't have quite the same dad bod your audience is used to seeing on this, or the incredible amount of Legos, but it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to talk about the Avengers Tower with you.
I'd like to say, I have a standard for what I set for the audience.
That standard.
And you're just going to have to work on that. We'll feed you afterwards and it'll make it better. Does that sound good? So since this is ever the first ever one that we're doing with this, we're going to kind of figure it out as we go. Should be kind of fun. I just hope you enjoy it. But today, like I say, we are reviewing the Avengers Tower. We're going to go over everything. And I don't own this set. So Mike owns this set. I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to talk about it. And it's an imposing set, dude.
It is. If you've ever looked at it in the Lego store and walked by and been like, huh, that looks pretty impressive. Oh, wait, it's bigger than I thought. It's a full 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's one of those sets where you actually have to plan it out, where you're going to put it in your house, what you're going to have around it, how you're going to utilize it, because it's not small. It's 5,200 pieces. I bought it last year.
Okay.
After we moved to Texas, and we bought a house, and I decided I needed to give myself a housewarming present.
Obviously.
This seemed to me like the best housewarming present I could do, because it occupies a spot in my office. The days I work from home, I work 2 days a week from home. It occupies a end table right next to my desk and my computer. So I get to look at it all the time, every day, and say, oh.
I feel like as a housewarming gift, maybe it should go on the dining room table, though.
It's a housewarming gift for me, not for everybody else.
Got it. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I would need one of the Lego cornucopia or flower sets to really have as the
dried flower arrangements. Yeah. That's what you would do. Yeah. Fair.
I mean, that's what they're intended for, right? So
yeah, of course.
Going what Lego suggests.
So yeah, this set came out back in November of 2023, but you bought it in 2024. The rumorville is that it could be retiring essentially any day. This set is supposed to go out literally as we speak. It is still for sale at lego.com, but we're talking mid-2025 at the latest. So when we get done with this, if you're like, oh man, I do love this set, you might want to consider it, because I don't think it is long for this world. But, tell me, why? I mean, you know me. I'm a Star Wars guy. I like architecture. I like all those. I don't have many Marvel sets. So tell me, what drew you to why this set? Why Marvel? Because you're a big Marvel guy.
I am a Marvel guy. Self-owned Marvel nerd. I subscribe to the Marvel Unlimited app. I got comics in my closet. I've got more than one Marvel set. But this one was always kind of the apple of my eye. I think, like a lot of people, I gravitated toward the Avengers movies. Marvel's The Avengers in 2012 was still such a terrific movie-going experience. And even Age of Ultron.
Even Age of Ultron?
Even Age of Ultron has its moments. And there's some Age of Ultron stuff in here.
Okay.
Maybe that shades it for me a little bit. And then obviously they go to Avengers Compound in Endgame and
but let's be real.
Else.
The compound to me isn't as great, isn't as iconic as the tower. I mean,
It's not.
The tower is the place.
Well, and the funny thing is, and I know this has been pointed out online, is that when you see the tower, it's not Avengers Tower in those movies. It's Stark Tower.
Right.
But as you can see, there's a big old A right here. So one of the things I liked most about it, besides the obvious delight in just seeing an Avengers set, I love the blue shaded color. For anybody who's seen the movie Big, and I hope all of your audience has,
They should.
There's a part in the middle of it when they're talking about a transformer they're going to put on the market, and Tom Hanks raises his hand. They're trying to sell a building, transforms into a robot, and he's like, "Well, what's fun about playing with a building?"
But it's a building that transforms into a robot. You got to get it. You got to understand.
I always kind of was like, why isn't it a robot that transforms into a building? It's not a building that transforms into a robot. Your whole branding point
This is a classic scene.
So that's my thing here. It's like, this building should be ugly. This
Right.
building should be really bland, and to me, that's one of the main critiques I have with some of the sets Lego's been releasing now, like Jabba's sand barge or
Yes. Jabba's sand barge.
it's just so much brown.
Yeah.
And even the Stranger Things set that they released with the house could be really bland. And it is a lot of earth tones, but even in those earth tones, they give it some flair. One of my favorite things about this is all the blue laced throughout the set. It gives it a bright tone to it. It offsets all of the gray because there's a lot of gray.
Right.
But every window is blue, right? The overlay windows are blue. The outside of it where you can see through because it makes everything translucent is blue. There's not a ton of gray you can see here. Actually, the most gray is probably on the top and the landing pad. But all the blue, I think, is what sets this building apart and what makes it so appealing to me, at least as a display piece.
Yeah.
Because once you're done with it, I'm not playing with it a lot. I don't have a lot of time to just go through it.
Hey, this is your housewarming gift. It's going to sit on your end
Yeah,
table, and you're going to
it's
stare
sitting
at
there.
it and smile.
If anything, I'm going to rearrange where the minifigs go.
Right.
Now I haven't done that a lot, but I think the blue makes it nice. And I should also mention I'm wearing a red shirt, but blue is my favorite color, so maybe I lean toward it there a little bit.
That's
as well.
fair. That's fair. And I think you're spot on. I always talk about this a lot with like Star Wars sets. There are so many ships out there that are all just gray. The Imperial Star Destroyer is amazing because it's so huge, but it's gray. And so I think that's why people loved the Venator, because they had the reds in the ship. It popped a lot more, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why people really love the Rivendell set so much with Lord of the
Exactly
Rings.
right.
There's so much color. It's not just a big set. It's a beautiful set, right?
Yeah, and to me, then, if you're going to talk about what all the Star Wars ships look like, even then, they need to adjust them because most of those ships are weather beaten. Most of those ships
Right.
have taken battle scars or
Right.
have some kind of damage or some kind of aging associated
And you
with
get some
them.
of
And
that
there would
with
just-
the stickers.
Yeah, there'd be some character associated with it, but you need to actually, I think they need to start building it into the sets so it has more of a lived-in feel to it and not just so, fresh off the CGI lot and
The
pulled
pristine.
straight from the Atlanta set. When they
Are you
have everything.
saying Star Wars has a lot of CGI in it? I'm shocked.
I'm saying every movie has a lot of CGI in it right now.
And speaking of CGI, man, you've got some amazing minifigs over there for characters. Talk about those minifigs for me, because how many are in that set itself?
It's got 31 minifigs, and that includes an Ant-Man minifig. So the Ant-Man minifig, the normal minifig, obviously, it's your typical,
Your regular minifig.
typical guy.
So
but-
Ant-Man is a microfig.
a microfig, and
There you go.
he goes up to Hawkeye's crotch here. I don't think he's going to do anything about that, but he goes up to about that for
Fair.
the reference point. But yeah, there's 31 minifigs, and the cool thing that they did with this set is that actually Hawkeye should be up here. Is that they gave you all sorts of minifigs.
I'm sorry, can we just pause for a second? If you're watching on the YouTube video, I just want to say how funny it is. Like, he's talking about the set and going over it and playing with the minifigs, and his Hawkeye was in the wrong spot. And you had to move the Hawkeye so he can be jumping off the building, shooting his arrows. He was
Yeah.
like, Hawkeye's in the wrong spot. But don't worry, guys, he fixed it.
Well, I had Hawkeye down here near the front entrance
Right.
where all the dopey shield guys are and the hot dog vendors.
The Qatari warriors.
And it's because he fell off, like Hawkeye is apt to do.
Yeah.
When I was transporting it over here, he'd already fell.
The greatest superhero, Hawkeye.
But he's supposed to go up here because he's shooting one of the Chitauri.
Yeah.
So what they do on this one is they have quite a few places for you to position your minifigs in action with part of the scene, right? So Hawkeye, for example, he's got this this translucent thing to have him stick out from the building and shoot at one of the Chitauri who's flying by. The Hulk is going down the building. I'll talk more about that. There's the Mark 7 that's diving down to save Tony Stark because he falls from the building, as you remember from Avengers.
I do.
And oddly enough, the set even has Wong in it, who I don't remember really as an Avenger.
I don't think Wong made an appearance in the original 2012 Avengers. I'm just putting it out there.
If it was me, I probably would have had Wong with a salami on rye or something after he comes back with it. But here, I think solely the reason they include Wong is so they can include some more color with him because he's obviously portaling in. I have Thor sending lightning bolts right up Loki's butt here, and then Black Widow's diving down to shoot Loki in the face.
I have to ask then, of all those minifigures, then which one is your favorite minifig, or is it like choosing the favorite child?
I'll get to that. Because he's going to get to that.
We're going to open it.
Yeah.
Man, I got to tell you, I'm sorry. I apologize right now to all of our podcast people. This may be the one where you tune in on YouTube and check it out because we're about to open the Avengers Tower.
If we were going to have a long, deep, interesting talk about the philosophy behind building Lego and constructing sets, I think that would make for a perfect podcast. Okay. But this is really a visual medium.
Well,
you're breaking down sets.
That was last week's video. That was last week's podcast on Lego is not for kids. Lego is for adults, clearly. So that would have been our deep conversation podcast. But you're right. This is a set review, and nothing better with a set review than actually seeing the set. I get it. So,
which sidebar on that? I have two kids. They're 14 and 11, and they're at that stage where they like Lego, but they don't really play with Lego.
They're going into the dark
So we had a
ages.
bunch of loose Lego, and I sold them to a coworker who he and his wife now have a 21-month-old. They had friends.
I think that's a little young for Lego, Mike.
They had friends over, and the friends had kids who were 6, 8, and 10. Gave a rave review to the Lego that they played with. So I was like, okay, totally worth it. You pass on the Legos. You pay it forward.
Yep.
Anyway, the minifigs are great. I've got probably 20 of them on the outside. There's more inside. One that I actually probably can't even see very well. I've got Eric Selvig hidden up here at the top.
Because clearly in the movie he's getting ready to thwart Loki's plan.
They gave him like some kind of briefcase here. I don't remember what briefcase he's got, but I'm guessing this holds.
Again, apologies for our podcast listeners. My brother is throwing Lego at this point, so if you hear all the noises, it's not his first podcast in history, I don't think.
I can't speak for the structural integrity of the Lego minifig hand grip and them dropping the briefcase associated with one of their figs.
Or maybe the podcast studio that you're podcasting in. Sorry about that,
But he's up top. He's been working on the device with that opens the
portal,
the Tesseract portal. It's got little fun flourishes too. There's a pigeon up here by Avengers icon, but this actually faces the back wall in my house, so the pigeon is it's out of sight, out of mind, and because he's a spy and does spy stuff, Nick Fury is also on the backside.
Nice.
Because he's doing spy stuff back here.
Got it. Okay, that's good.
Oddly enough, too, they included a dumpster with this because every good skyscraper needs its own dumpster.
Every skyscraper should have at least one dumpster with it.
The only yellow included in the set is with the dumpster.
That's
and the dumpster,
really funny.
Dumpster, of course, has trash in it, including this bad boy. Which
what is that?
I was like, is this radioactive material coming from Avengers Tower? Is it just an empty can of Coke that they had? I don't know.
It's actually just an extra infinity stone that they were just like, we don't need that anymore. So it's the ether that's turned solid.
I think it's a fair question. The other thing that's fun with the minifigs, up close is there is a plaque here for the Battle of New York. It should probably be a little bit bigger.
Is that a sticker or is that like a regular printed piece?
Sticker.
Okay.
Which, I get it. You're Lego. You don't want to have to go and make all this stuff. But
Well, I will tell you, I mean, that's one thing I talk a lot about is the use of stickers versus printed pieces. Like, especially Harry Potter sets use so many stickers. So
Right.
I'm not averse totally on all the Marvel sets, but does Marvel use like the sheer amount of stickers that Harry Potter does?
I would say yes, offhand. I haven't given that a lot of thought. That'll be something to ruminate on later.
Got it. Okay. Like, for example, the Diagon Alley set it's like 150 stickers.
Oh, well, I can just go get a sticker collection from Target instead.
Seriously,
How about that?
for real. So yeah, stickers are always a big topic of conversation, and I always feel like this set is a $500 set, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna spend $500 on a Lego set, even though that only equates to about, for this particular set, under 10 cents per piece. Still, the less stickers, the better, because this is something that you want on display for a long time, and stickers are the first thing to get messed up.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't expose this piece to direct sunlight, so that'll help some of the exposure there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stickers are on the inside because that was the best way they could showcase some of the workshops.
And speaking of the inside, why don't you go ahead and open that bad boy up? We can just throw that off to the side. We don't have to even worry about it.
I love this little thing. This thing took
The wall?
Yeah, it took I think it was like 4-5 steps for pages. A lot of repetitive building in this in this set, as you can see. You're putting windows into the covers, but this
does happen.
This that one's pretty great. There you go, podcast listeners.
There you go, podcast listeners. We're setting the wall down. We are venturing inside
I should take
of
off
Avengers
the
Tower.
Quinjet
Oh, you got your
as well.
Quinjet too.
Yeah.
And he was very nice. He let me have the what's this beast called?
I call it a
forget.
Chitauri dragon. I'm sure it's not a dragon. What the hell's a dragon called in space?
I love it. The Chitauri Space Dragon. I appreciate you letting me show this off over here. I will say, I'm sure he's proportional, but we were talking about this before the podcast. He does seem just a wee scotch small for what he is.
It doesn't seem like a piece that's going to crash into the New York Public Library and take out the whole first row of it.
Right, and just fly right off like nothing's happened.
He seems more like he'd hit it and then kind of fall over in the street. But
I gotta say, it is pretty cool looking. I do love the pearl gold elements with that light nugget. I think that's really cool. Like, in and of itself, it's a cool looking piece, but definitely a little small.
Fun fact, it's the first thing you build when you open the set.
Oh, okay. Bag one.
They're,
You can
they're
build yourself
deceiving you on saying, hey, this will go quick. No, it does not.
So tell me, what do we got going on inside the Avengers Tower?
So
like, what are actual scenes?
Inside Avengers Tower, we'll go from the top down.
Okay.
I took off this piece here, which has Falcon chasing one of the Chitauri, or actually chasing Ultron specifically. I'll give you the other side on this one. This, as Ultron, irks me to no end. It's just a Lego minifig with like some wires. Can we get an Ultron helmet in here? Can we get Ultron a little bit taller, maybe? This is a lame Ultron. This is not Ultron. This is like some janky Iron Man figure. This is the single worst minifig in the set. Excuse me, I shouldn't go so negative. I feel like I have.
I think it's okay to go negative on that. When people want to hear a set review, if they're going to spend $500 on something, you need to give them your honest thoughts. You can't You're not getting paid by Lego.
No.
You're not getting paid by me either. So just be blunt. Just don't use foul language. Yeah, sorry. But again, no foul language, even though you're not getting paid.
What about a cup of coffee later?
I can do a cup of coffee later. But anyway.
You look at this minifig, and you think it's just a suit of Iron Man's armor or something. Yeah. It's pretty lame. So anyway, that's why I'm having Falcon shoot him. I also randomly have Scarlet Witch on top of the Quinjet. You can put somebody in the Quinjet. I didn't do that because I also think the Quinjet might be a little small in proportion to the Lego minifigs. But the Scarlet Witch, also not terrific. It's more Infinity War Scarlet Witch versus Age of Ultron or even Civil War Scarlet Witch. And if you're going to go Infinity War, why not just go later and give her a crown too and have her look full on WandaVision Scarlet Witch? Anyway, those are the two critiques there. So the top part of the Avengers Tower, it's the lounge area. You see this in Age of Ultron.
Right.
It's got the bar set up in there. Right now I have Black Widow talking to, I think this is, yeah. This is undercover Tony Stark from Endgame.
Right, because there are multiples of a few of the minifigs, right? We've got
quite
multiples, Captain America and Iron Man, I believe.
There are quite a few Tony Starks. There's 2 sets of Iron Man armor, Mark 6 and Mark 7. There are 2 Tony Stark figures. And then this one, obviously, I'm just gonna put all the other stuff down. This one is cool in that Tony Stark also has his heads-up display on this minifig. You can see his face looks blue. He's not possessed. He's not taken over by Ultron. This is him if he were talking to Jarvis or other AI components. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, he's smuggling out the Tesseract. So the top one here, Black Widow's also up there. Other nice touches in there. It's got Thor's hammer from Age of Ultron on the display, and you can't see it in here, but I'm just going to point to it anyway. On the display in here, it also says how to lift heavy objects. So it's a whole breakdown and potentially a teaser and info for different Avengers people for how to actually lift Thor's hammer if you're not worthy, I suppose.
That's really funny. I like that.
It's got a bar in the back where, from Ultron again, that's Black Widow romancing Dr. Banner. It's got a newspaper on there for the Battle of New York, breaks down all that stuff. It's got the one ticker screen that says how to be strong. The other ticker's got a news report on the Hulk, says Hulk smash again. But my favorite part is the bottom part of it. It's got a news ticker, and it says, who is Winter Soldier? So to me, that's like one of the few nods to Captain America, Winter Soldier in this one. Because I just wish they would have put Winter Soldier in the set.
Yeah, I think I would take one less Tony Stark or one less Captain America to get Winter Soldier. If we're going to include Age of Ultron stuff.
Or one less Chitauri. There are 4 Chitauris included in this. It's like when you were a kid and you had 150 G.I. Joe figures and you only had like 2 Cobra because they wanted you to buy like 6 of the Cobra flunkies to go and build out your set. I'm like, I don't need 4 Chitauri. Just give me 1 Chitauri and put other villains in here.
You're telling me you didn't want to have 5 Dukes standing next to each other ready to battle?
It's not even the Dukes. It's like when you went to the store and the only ones you could find were the lame-o Cobra foot soldier.
The imitation Cobra foot soldier.
Them or with...
and all you wanted was it Snake Eyes?
Yeah, or Storm Shadow. But you just see the Cobra figures with Shipwreck and Gung Ho, and you're like, I don't want any of these guys.
We're going off the rails, man. Anyway, moving back. People are listening right now going, I don't know about this 2-person thing going on right now. Maybe you should go back to 1.
What they're saying is they're like, I really like this guy. He's going to have to be a regular guest.
You know what? You may. We'll have to, especially when we get into the deep conversations, the philosophical ones, for sure.
The other nice touch with the top part is there's an elevator that goes down the whole side of this part of Avengers Tower. The top elevator is broken. It's got yellow tape across the top, caved in door, courtesy of the Hulk.
Got it.
Next level down is one of the incubation centers, I call it, for Vision, which is my favorite minifig of the set. Vision looks dope. He's got 2 capes. One cape. He had a cloth one, but I took it off. He's got a translucent microfiber cape where there's really great detailing around the back to really give the fine details of looking like circuitry. And then his body, you can see, because the Vision controls his own density, right? So he can go through objects. His body goes from solid to translucent on the way down. Oh. So he's clearly starting to phase through something.
That's very clever. I had no idea.
Yeah, I think it's great. The Vision, coolest looking minifig of the whole set.
Noted.
Also in this level, there's an Arnim Zola stand-up machine there from Captain America and the Winter Soldier there when he goes to Fort Lehigh. And there's also another newspaper here, but I forget what this one says. Oh, it says, "Who is the Iron Man?" So this is like an old school one.
That's original 2008 right there. Who is Iron Man?
Yep. Next level down is Tony Stark's workshop. This is where I have the Mark VI displayed. The Mark VI has what I was referring to earlier, the Star Wars stuff. It's got battle scar damage on the visor with the top, to where Tony Stark takes a hit in the face, and they include it there. This one is just a remote one. There's no Tony Stark in this. It's more like the Iron Legion.
That's actually a really clever and cool looking helmet then, to just have that blank in there. I like that.
Yeah. So they do that with some of the Chitauri as well. Other fun touches in this one, there is Dummy, who you'll recognize from the Iron Man set. He's helping him out in there. And you gotta get some like soft.
Apparently, or maybe just not have Butterfingers. You
put things down on the table. Really. I don't know what to tell you. The other nice touch is there's a trash can in the back, and it says Roxxon on it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember what Roxxon means.
Roxxon is the company that Justin Hammer runs.
Oh, okay.
From Iron Man 2.
From Iron Man 2.
He's the competing weapons manufacturer in the comics. Roxxon is like actually the significant thorn in Tony Stark's side all throughout the comics, where it's a competing weapons manufacturer run by Justin Hammer. But I like that it's a trash can that says Roxxon.
Fair.
One level down from that is pretty fun. It's mostly an entry level, but I have restaged the shot from Endgame where Captain America and the other Captain America have fought. One Captain America's fallen, and the other Cap says, "That is America's ass." And they have built it specifically for that, because the Cap that's fallen...
That just fell, I might add. The
Inside.
Captain America that has fallen literally out of his hands again.
No, he fell inside the building, though.
Oh.
But this Cap, the Cap that fell...
We'll leave him be.
He's got a stand next to it, so they want you to put him there. So they want you to reenact.
They want you to do that
in
in-game scene. That's fair.
Yep. And then the base of the building, which is where there's a side door that opens up and the elevator entrance. It's the lobby area. There's not really much there, except for this thing that I also am trying to remember what it is.
That thing?
It says Vita Rush.
So it's a vending machine.
It's a vending machine that says Vita Rush. Now, I don't remember them ever making a Vita Rush machine in the comics or in the movies, but it's a great idea, where if you're putting Vita Rays into a can of soda, the same stuff that they pumped into Steve Rogers. It's kind of a fun idea, but there are 4 cans of Vita Rush in this machine, this vending machine, and they come out. And I'm like, okay, that's a random,
typical
fun
Lego,
detail.
Clever little Easter egg.
Yep. And then the other person I have sitting in the lobby there is I'm gonna bring up her name, Helen Cho, who's Helen Cho, also from Age of Ultron, is the microbiologist that works to bring Ultron to life.
Oh.
When they're working on the casing for Ultron, she's the one that works on that. She gets mind controlled.
I've heard a lot of minifigs in there, but correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there supposed to be a Kevin Feige in this too?
There is a Kevin Feige. I have him down here.
Oh, okay.
You can see there's a hot dog stand with it, and Kevin Feige I have standing next to it in front. He has, hopefully stuff he doesn't drop in his hand, a cup of coffee, piece of pizza. I think he should have a bagel, and then his ever-present baseball cap. Feige, of course, was the producer on the Marvel movies, is now the head of all Marvel creative content.
He is Marvel.
Yeah,
the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Kevin Feige.
And is famous, at least in movie circles, for having always wearing a baseball cap. Now, part of that is because he's got a head like you and mine, where he has no hair on it, so I think he wears a baseball cap most of the time.
So why would you need to wear a baseball cap if you have the beautiful sheen that we have that plays off so well on the YouTube
Well, when
page?
you're in so many sets that you're just exposed to the elements.
I guess.
That
Noted.
All of those Atlanta sets, they're notorious for the ultra UV beams.
I was going to say high UV index, so he's got to wear his hat. Be safe, right?
Yeah. I should note the other really cool minifig they have is the Wasp. Mm-hmm. She, like Vision's cape, has translucent wings. She doesn't shrink, but she has translucent wings, and they also show some of the textured parts of what the wings look like in real life. And then her helmet looks much more like Ant-Man's helmet. I remember her helmet being being black in the movies. This one's gray. It's more of a nod to in-game when she comes back. Oh,
Got it.
I forgot I had Ant-Man looking at America's ass. He is.
That's good.
So you can see if.
And I feel like if Paul Rudd could hear you say that, he would be like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Well, yeah. Apparently, they have an Avengers text thread where all the actors go back and forth with each other on it.
Really?
And I forget now who was talking about it. Maybe it was Sebastian Stan. Maybe it was Anthony Mackie. But they were saying the person that is the most brilliant and funny on the chat
is Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd.
I mean, I would argue that he's probably up there towards the top for any text thread I'm sure he's in. He's hysterical.
It's like, I guess, any time that somebody needs to have a funny comment or shut somebody down, it's Paul Rudd jumps in and they're like, well, I can't match that. I'm just going to quit, not even try.
You've been Paul Rudded, essentially.
Yes. But if you can see, then the Ant-Man, what do you call him?
It's a microfig.
Microfig is as tall, goes up to Wasp's waist. So it is truly a tiny, tiny figure. Also, I guess let's go through one more minifig, which I thought was a really random inclusion.
Okay.
Can you tell who this is?
I cannot.
What if I called him the Sundance Kid?
I would call him.
Or the
Natural. Wait, I can do this. Yes. All I can think is Burt Reynolds right now. That's so embarrassing. I know exactly who you're talking about.
It is indeed Robert Redford.
Yes.
As Alexander Pierce.
Golly.
He should have another side to him because he's obviously head of Hydra. He just instead has a creepy little look on his face.
Which I do love that because, again, you got that next level Captain America nod to Winter Soldier.
Yep.
One of the best movies, one of the best Marvel movies I think ever made as far as story goes.
Still, I think the best one. Yeah. I think it's the best single version
maybe
of a
not
Marvel
the
movie.
most like intense, like you've got Endgame for things like that, but as far as like a good story, like a good script, Winter Soldier is top tier.
Yeah, it's terrific fight scenes. It's good storyline. It's probably overblown a little bit in terms of its nod to the 70s paranoia thrillers like the Parallax View, where it doesn't have quite that same panache, and you really can't meet that when you're not directed by Alan Pakula. But Alexander Pierce...
But you digress. You're telling me, though, it is better than Captain America New World Order.
Yes. Yes. Although, did you? I can't remember. Did you share this story?
I don't think I did. Oh, I did not. Go ahead. Share the story because we went and saw Captain America: New World Order not too long ago.
We did, and as Steve knows, Steve has said before, we live in Texas, in Houston, and there's a Regal Cinemas not far from his house where it's got a 4DX theater. So,
and if you don't know what 4DX is, that's the one where you sit in the seat for that immersive, jarring experience. So,
and added bonus, this was 4DX in 3D. So the movie is garbage. More I've thought about the movie, the more
it's really bad.
It's really bad.
I would take Eternals over Captain America: New World Order.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
I would
you heard it here first.
I would choose to do my taxes and finish those up first, I think. But we saw it in 4DX and 3D, so it's stuff coming at you, and then I don't think I've been on a roller coaster that's been as active as
For real. It was
As
really
New
hard
World
to
Order.
eat popcorn or drink as you're getting punched while Falcon is getting punched. I almost felt like I was going to get thrown out of my seat a couple times, which honestly made the movie such a better experience. I think I would have been so mad walking out of that film had I not at least seen it in 4DX.
I might have walked out if it hadn't been 4DX, but
Yeah.
I was joking afterward. We needed seatbelts because
Yes.
I legitimately had to catch myself a couple times.
So what we're saying is you should see every Marvel movie in 4DX. I mean, it's pricey, but it was worth it, especially if you don't think the movie's going to be good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Other things I'd note about the set. I noted the elevator shaft coming up. I think I worked on the set over the course of a week, be a couple hours after work every day. So maybe 6-7 hours, maybe 10 at build time, somewhere in there. The only thing that I thought was, it's a straightforward build, but there are some nuggets that were challenging. This curve they have here, I'm kind of surprised Lego didn't create a specific curved piece for it versus having 6 or 8 slotted smooth.
that curve on the building you're showing, though, that's a real gentle curve. I don't know how they would do that.
I was thinking, depending on how popular the piece was, I was like, I was like, would they make a special piece specific for this set? It comes on its own bag. I don't know.
I think for something that large, that's usually what you get with a typical Lego
But
set.
having the positioning of it did take a while to have it aligned so it actually looked like a building and not just some haphazardly assembled Lego
Got it.
one. And then for the elevator itself on the inside, there was quite a bit alignment and then realignment of the pieces themselves so that they would work. The other thing that was challenging but satisfying is that one of the reasons then they have this as not its own assembled piece is because then there's exposed parts where you can attach the minifigs to be doing something on the building, right? You can attach one of the...
So it raises up the playability factor a little bit. That's
and
nice.
then the coolest playability factor is they did have, it's on the second floor, they have one of the windows busted out, and then they have it specifically so the Hulk can hold it here, like in Avengers when he's jumping from building to building.
Yeah, sliding
Hulk-
down the building.
This Hulk is obviously getting ready to smash this Chitauri into the building. It may feel a little gratuitous, as Mark Ruffalo would say, but it's a pretty cool touch.
Well, good. Well, that is an insanely detailed review. I appreciate that. Here's what we like to do because this one's we're running a little long now. Always the fun part about a 2-person podcast, I
More
guess.
ad breaks for you.
Quality, right? I like to give a final set review rating for listeners to let them know essentially, is this set worth spending $500 on? And the 4 categories that we do are playability, displayability, the build experience, and the value. And since this is your set, you get the honors. Tell me, playability, where would you rank this set?
Well, I just turned 48. I don't play with Lego much anymore.
But you could.
And as Tom Hanks said, it's a building. What do you do with a building? So I think the playability is only about a 4.
Okay.
The satisfying part of it is repositioning the figs and repositioning where the battle sequences might be. So I go 4 playability.
Okay, good. That's fair, I think. Displayability, obviously. I mean, the reason you bought this set, I think it was to display it. So tell me, displayability, where do you put this one?
10. No second thoughts. No regrets. We'll see what happens when the economy goes south, but no regrets spending $500 on this for the display functionality of it. It looks spectacular, I think.
The good news is when it retires, it definitely is going to go up in value. So, if the economy does tank, you have this is your gold investment.
We'll see.
What this is.
I have a Daily Bugle and a Hulkbuster unopened sitting in my closet for those purposes so I can hold on to the Avengers Tower.
That Hulkbuster might take a little while. I'm just putting it out there. Hopefully you got it on a good deal.
I did.
So with that, I think the next one is build experience. Obviously, it sounded like you had a heck of a good time building this thing. Where would you rate build experience?
I would rate that a 9. I think it's a satisfying build.
Little repetition, it looks like.
Little repetition, but enough variability from floor to floor that it was interesting. And I think the little touches throughout make it fun. And even then, again, you can't see it as well on video, but there are other partitions here that break up the monotony of the stacking windows on top of windows.
So just varied enough to keep you interested. Yep. Nice. And then value. And I will tell you, just to kind of give you a little heads up on what we use, as that moniker is price per piece. And as a $500 set and 5,201 pieces, that breaks down to about 9.6 cents per piece. We'll say nowadays 10 cents is pretty much the norm. So what do you think about the overall value of this set?
I've always, even before you said that, that's what I've always used as my threshold for most of them. It's why I haven't invested in a lot of Star Wars sets, because they exceed that threshold.
Right. They're usually sitting around 13 cents per piece.
It's pretty frustrating, especially when you see like the Luke Dagobah set, and I'm like, oh, this is such a cute little set. He's not going anywhere.
And suddenly it's $80 for 300 pieces.
Oy.
Yes.
But I think for me specifically, I gave it a value of 9, but that is influenced by me getting to see it pretty much every day. Anytime I'm at my computer, I get to sit down next to it, take it in a little bit, stare at it, whatever, and it gives me that little joy, as a Marie, what was that?
Marie not Trudeau. Kanto. Does it bring you joy?
It gives me joy, so I will go through other things in my house, get rid of them. I'm not doing this with the Lego.
Now you
Avengers
do...
Tower.
Granted, you may not quite have the Lego collection that I do, but you do have a fair number of sets. Where do you think this ranks in the sets that you currently own?
For the longest time,
any set that's better?
For the sets I own, for the longest time, my Milano was my
the
favorite
Guardians of the Galaxy
set I
ship.
had.
Okay, that's fair.
And I have the initial one that's mostly orange and a little bit of blue. The new one that they have is a lot of blue and gray. There's not really any orange in it. I thought that set looked fabulous. I have as I mentioned earlier, a Stranger Things set. I've got the Yoda with the lightsaber. I've got a fair amount of Harry Potter stuff. But this would be my favorite set. Now, my kids are giving me one on Sunday for my birthday that I'm going to be pretty excited to
You already
build.
know what you're getting?
Well, I may have bought it myself and then give it to the kids to say, hey, give me this for my birthday. This will be a great present for me.
That is the best way to do it as a dad.
So it's
100%.
It's the Rocket Raccoon.
Oh,
figure.
the buildable.
And I think the buildable rocket looks fantastic. I'm excited to see how.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, well then, if you did all those put together, that was I believe you said a 9 on value.
Yep.
So if we're putting that together, it looks like an overall 8 out of 10. Does that feel fair to you?
You know what? Given how much I see it, I would give it
Maybe,
a little small bump.
Maybe
I
8.5.
I think it's somewhere close to an 8.5.
Ultimately, I hear you saying, even if it knocks on playability, it's definitely worth a buy.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
It's been a terrific set. I'm really happy about it. I think, especially if you need or want something in one of your rooms that says, hey, this is an awesome Lego set. I want people to notice this set. This is a great one to have.
Very nice, very nice. And again, if you're interested in this set, like you can go to, there's a great site, Brick Economy. You can see potential values for this set, both from investing and collecting standpoints. If this set does retire, which we anticipate in the next couple, 3 months, it's immediately going to give you anywhere between a $30 to $60 bump in price. So if you want to get it, I would go to Brick Owl, I would go to Bricklink, find it on the resale market or find it on a good double points deal, and I would definitely get it. So, well, there you go. Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Did you enjoy yourself?
I'm trying to decide if I need to up the playability at all. I'm seeing if I...
He's playing with the Quinjet right now. So he says he's 48 and he doesn't play with Lego anymore. But as I'm talking to you right now, he's over there playing with his Avenger set. So again,
let's have the Quinjet land. Maybe that'll be good.
As he continues to drop stuff around. So I guess with that, again, sorry, definitely a long one today, but I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you are watching on YouTube, what did you think of this one? Do you think we should do more of this type of thing? Do you think this should be the last time Mike should ever make an appearance on the podcast? Just let me know. We appreciate it. But until Monday, which like I say, it's April. We've got lots of crazy April sets, whether you want to buy an overpriced bag end or a really ugly looking Beauty and the Beast castle. We'll have to tune in Monday for all the latest news and rumors. What do you think? You got to buy the bag end set? It's $270.
I've thought about it. I would lean more Sanctum Sanctorum if I was really going to get a new.
If you had to go, but that's not a new set. Any new releases?
It's new to me.
That's fair. That's fair. If you hadn't checked it out, my latest set I just got was the T-Rex set. I had a speed build review video on this one actually last Saturday. Oh, guys, it was so good. I just love that set so much. It's my favorite set of the year so far. It's going to be definitely up there. But
you might have another speed build coming. We share the same birthday, so there might be another Lego set coming your way that you could do a speed build on.
Yeah, fun fact, we are born on the same day, 4 years apart. Isn't that a little weird? I'm just saying. So anyway, we digress. Thank you again. Appreciate you so much. And until I catch you on Monday, we'll have to see you later. Bye-bye.